Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldus and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
Hey, B, take it away.
Well, you guys probably see I got myself a new hat today, or yesterday.
Yeah, it's looking nice and sharp.
It's clean. And it doesn't smell funky like my last one that I had. People were like, man, you kind of smell a little off. No, it's my hat. So anyhow, we got rid of the bad smell when I got rid of the bad hat there. It got a lot of fish, and it's kind of like one of those lucky go-to things that you throw on in the morning. And I always have a ritual. When I'm going fishing, I wear white underwear, just in case you were wondering. And I wore my lucky hat. Well, this one's just as equally lucky, I assure you. So don't worry about that one. So tonight, I've got a pattern that we've been working with for quite some time now. Scotty's taught a few variations of it himself. It's the Mayfly Nymph, the FNF Mayfly Nymph. If you get a chance, go to FridayNightFlies.com, check out the FNF Mayfly Nymph. It looks a lot like this one does. The one thing that we found is as we made it a little bit bulkier, the Mayfly Nymph, it started to look a lot more like a micro leech. So, in the true spirit of tying micro leeches, you kind of want to stick to the colors that micro leeches or leeches are, which in our area, they're either brown or they're black. And the lake that we've been fishing is loaded with these little brown guys. Okay. Not just little brown guys, but you can get them this big, as thick as your finger. And I'll tell you one thing, you don't want to get them on you because a leech this big will clean you pretty quick.
You've seen the lady today freaking out over the leeches.
Man, I'll tell you, there's nothing that creeps me out more in water. I'll take snakes, whatever, crazy, but leeches, get the hell out of there. Not my thing. So, but that being said, fish love to eat them, especially big fish. So I've Superfly so graciously sent us some ram's wool, and I was like, what the hey am I gonna do with ram's wool? And I tried to tie it once. I don't know if can you guys see that stuff?
Oh yeah.
That's
put her down in the small camera.
That's like an afro on steroids. It's thick and it's really dense. It's clumpy. And I tried to tie something with it, and it's tough to tie with. But being that Superfly always likes to throw us a challenge, I was up to the challenge. And what I did was cross blend it with, I think I've got the dubbing over there. Are we still on the top camera?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I took that ram's wool. I'm just going to take the sticker off here so that, and I threw it in my my coffee grinder just to fluff it up a little bit. And I went 2 parts brown ram's wool and 1 part diamond dub in the rusty brown. And voila, this is what you get. A lot lighter, fluffier version of the ram's wool.
Straight off the hide.
Straight off the hide, yeah. So it's pretty nice.
A little more dubbable.
I can work with this.
Nice.
And once I put it on the hook, it actually looked pretty damn sexy. And it's something I can honestly say I've never seen on a hook prior to this day. So, without further ado, let's go downstairs there, Scott, and let's get busy tying this beauty.
You have it.
So here we're gonna give it a slow roll here. I'm gonna loosen the vise off a little bit. Pretty straightforward stuff. Ram's wool, a little bit of mallard flank in wood duck, which I didn't pull out yet, but it's usually not too far from the top of my box. Right there. So I got the natural and wood duck, or this one's olive. Let's see what I got here. I think I've got it. There's the wood duck. There's not much difference. You can tie it in both. So there's your olive, and that's your au naturel wood duck. Yep. So let's get started here. Start off with, of course, size 6 curved caddis hook and a 5/32 red bead. Because if you guys have ever fished for leeches, they like to suck your blood. So we'll give it a hint of blood in the head because it's still in its teeth. olive thread in 6/0. We're just going to put a little bit of base on the hook here, just something to grip. Put the grid on. And then we're going to get pretty busy here. And by the way, the fishing has been fantastic as of late here in beautiful sunny Pemberton. So we're going to go back to the base here. Superfly makes these great little assortment packs of their offcuts. And this one here is their ringneck pheasant tail pieces. And you can get them in assortment packs, which is pretty nice. So if you've never tried red, you've never tried olive, you've never tried black, or you're natural or brown, it gives you a chance to try a few different colors. So with this one, being that I'm using a red bead, I'm going to run a red tail too, just as a little extra hot shot here. Or hot spot, I should say. And you want to get a nice little clump of it to make a nice full tail. And it complements the fly quite nicely. Because when that ram's wool pulls back over the back, this little bit of red hot spot shines through quite nicely. Are we still going good there? I'm hearing a lot of weird beeps and bangs.
It's our phones, I think. Scotty Holmes and
so you want to stick that off the back of the hook a little bit, about I'm going to say about a 1/2 inch. That point, lock it down, just wrap it up the shank, go back to the back here just before it starts to fade off the hook, and lock it all down. At this point, we're going to make a small dubbing loop about 4 inches long, pushing 5. Lock that guy in, work your thread back up to the front. I'm going to put my dubbing hook inside the loop, and with the Griffin Montana Mongoose, you can't quite see it, but it's got a beautiful little crib here for hanging stuff off the back. And then what I'm going to do, throw a little, some guys can throw a 1/2 hitch. I'm pretty quick with the whip finish. Quick whip finish up behind the bead. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my bobbin cradle back up over around the front here. Throw that guy over top of the cradle. At this point, I'm going to grab myself this nice ram's wool that I've got. I'm just going to kind of fluff it up a little bit. And prior to using it, I mean, everybody and their dog has been playing with this stuff, being amazed at how nice it is and how full of life it is. And it's kind of got a little bunched up, but pretty easy to fluff it back up. You just use your fingers, spread it out, and that's about what it's going to look like. Just like that.
Good little glint in it.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of what's up in there for sure. It's got the Friday Night Flies twist. At that point, just make sure your dubbing loop is nice and open. Slip that guy back in, and I'm cutting it right in half. Some guys will hit it on the side, or heavy to one side, or heavy in the middle, heavy on the back. I'm spreading it out pretty even because leech patterns are pretty consistent throughout the body. They're not heavy to the head or heavy to the back. So I'm just going to spin this guy up quick with my dubbing hook. You want to get it somewhat tight. At that point, I'm going to touch it with my Velcro just to fluff it up again, so it doesn't trap it all inside there. Pretty easy. At this point, it doesn't really look like much, but I assure you it's going to look pretty sexy in about half a second. So with these new rotary vices, this is the easy part. Take that rotary vice, you spin it, you work your way back up the body, Mach speed, pretty simple stuff. And stop just before you get to the head, behind that bead. At that point, bring your thread back up, put a couple wraps, go in behind, and as I like to say, lock it down, baby. I know all you viewers right now are at home just waiting for me to say that. Lock it down! And cut off the excess, and I'll throw it back in the blender here, and we'll fluff it up later tonight. So, there you have it. A little bit of a body. I'm going to swing that cradle around the other side so it's not in my way. I'm going to make sure that that's all nice and locked down. Okay, leave your bobbin hanging. Go back to the Velcro. Fluff this sucker up. I'm going to pull it to the back. You see how it's coming together here, eh, Scott? Don't you, bud?
Yeah, it's looking good.
Okay, you want to pull some of those nice hot fibers out from inside that and blend it all together and over the tail, and you see how that thing's just laying in there nice and pretty like. with that nice hot red tail poking through. When this fly gets wet, they're all going to blend nicely together. It'll be really sexy, I assure you. Now we're going to the wood duck. Mallard flank. At this point, I've picked through this one pretty good, so I'm just going to lay a few of these out on the table here in front of me and try not to get too much in the camera here. So,
I've been tying so much with the mallard wood duck that now I have 3 different bags.
yeah, one for motos, one for...
Yep. I picked through all the shorter in-between sized stuff for all of these patterns that we've been doing lately, and then putting all the big long ones for the motos side.
So you got your mallard flank. Easiest way to do it, give it a little bend over the hook and make sure that it doesn't go too far back. And that's perfect. You just want it to go just past the wool of the body. And at that point, we're just going to get rid of the fluff on the bottom of the shank or the feather there. And I'm going to tie it in at the tip. I know Scott likes tying them in at the butt. I tied it in at the tip because I like to finish it off at the butt because it gives you something to tie off to. Meaty. Something real meaty. And at that point, we are almost ready to tie this sucker in. It's nice. It's always good to have some feathers kind of prepped just for this. And then pull that guy back a little bit, tie her in at the tip. Okay, at that point, you wrap that mallard flank around. Don't worry about how it's laying on there, because you'll see mallard flank always looks best when it doesn't look its best. I don't know if that made much sense. It looks its best when it's not its best. These little short feathers.
Not all neat and organized.
That's right. And you're looking at it and you're like, wow, that looks pretty clumpy there, Brad. But I assure you it'll clean up quite nicely. And the trick with mallard flank is that when you tie it in at the tip, when you're finished, you got the thick end of the feather hangs down, and what I like to do is just leave just a little tab, something to tuck your thread in behind, and it kind of purchases on it and it holds it all in there real nice. And then you take your fingers and you just pull this all back. At that point, you get in there, you see that little tab? If you get that tab, you know you got that thing locked in.
You figure eight around it a little. And...
just a couple times, just like that. And you can see how that thing's coming together. And at this point, you can take your scissors and get rid of that little tab now, because you've locked it in there. Okay. And I think it's got a little feather hanging on there still. There it is. Perfect. Wrap it around a couple more times. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then finish it off with just a little hint of glitter. It's like the diamond in the rough here, guys. Which...
you gotta put the crown jewel on it.
That's
still.
right. You gotta put the crown jewel on her, baby. And this one is Diamond Dub Olive Bronze. Don't try to get any because they don't make it anymore. I bought the last of it. And I assure you I'm getting pretty thin on it right now myself. But all it is a bronze dubbing with olive in it. Pretty straightforward stuff. So you put that on there pretty thick. First, you don't need a real big collar on it, but make sure you got it on there. Give it one wrap, give it a little pull, and just have a look and see how thick you want it on there. I'm going to give it one more wrap here. You don't want to hide that bead. At that point, I'm just going to pull it back a little bit and whip finish over top of the bead on the back of the bead there. And ladies and gentlemen, you have one hell of a nice little micro leech that's going to lay the smack down. Any of you that have watched WWE Monday Night Raw will know what I'm talking about. This is going to lay a smack down. To clean this fly up, you've seen this in all my videos pretty well. It's a chunk of Velcro glued to a popsicle stick. This one is on its way out. I said that probably about 15 flies ago. But you take that, pretty straightforward, and you just run it through, pull a little bit of that dubbing off the collar, back into the fly a little bit, and that there is going to slay him. How's it look on your side there, cameraman?
It's looking pretty good.
I'm just going to get a little bit under the underside here. And that
Looks like I could have used a few of those out on the water too.
Whew, there it is. Slow roll, going both ways. Yeah. There it is.
These flies, that combo of doing the traditional styled bodies of dubbing or whatever with this new collar that we've been putting on, makes these flies move so uniquely.
You know, with this pattern, I probably would have used a little bit less mallard flank there. But I mean, the thing is, you've got something to rotate through it, right?
Yeah.
So the little bit of brown sheep wool or ram's wool poke through, along with a little bit of UV hint that's in there, and then a sexy olive collar with a red head. Who doesn't like a red head, bud? I fall victim to that.
I know you do. You married her.
Okay, let's go back up top. Okay, thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for watching my version of Micro Leech, and I assure you, it is going to catch fish. So come on down to Spud Valley Sporting Goods. We've got all the hooks and material that you need. Either that or visit our good friend Zach Copeland down at Bass Pro in Tawasin. He'll have probably the same stuff that I got here, but not nearly as good a price. Anyhow, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching.